everyone, and welcome back to the Real Positive Girl podcast. My name is Sabrina. Happy Tuesday to you all. I hope that you're having a fantastic day today. I hope that, yesterday was good. Today is even better. Continues to progress as you go through the week. That is genuinely what I do hope for you guys and for myself. Just a reminder, this week we were talking about New year, same you, new mood. And today, Tuesday, we're going to be specifically talking about go at it with a moderate pace. But before we jump into the episode, again, happy Tuesday. I want to remind you that if you're having a hard day or you're just having a day where a lot of things are holding you back, bringing you down, causing you stress, anxiety, feeling overwhelmed, I encourage you to take the 5-minute reset, which allows you to take 5 minutes by yourself and you can reset, reboot, restart your day right then and there. It also allows you to just draw a line in the sand and kind of leave the rest of the day that happened already behind you and start fresh in that moment and be able to still be positive and look forward to what else the day could bring and still feel like you can be productive and happy and just feeling a lot better than letting all that stuff that already happened weigh you down continuously through the rest of the day. It gives you an opportunity to take a break from any issues or burdens that you're dealing with, come up with resolutions for problems that you're dealing with, either alone or with someone else. I always encourage everyone to come up with a list of at least 4 things that you are grateful for, big, small, or medium size. You can literally be grateful that your favorite football team has won in the playoffs. You can be grateful maybe that your football team didn't, so you can kind of take a break from football if it kind of overwhelms you. You can be grateful that you were able to, chat with a friend on the phone recently, or maybe you're grateful that it's like super rainy or stormy or snowy day wherever you live, so you can have this like comfy, cozy time at home with whomever you live with, whether roommates or family or friends, or like a spouse or someone, a partner, whatever it is, kids, you can just like have that comfy time at home. I love those days where it's just like pouring rain here. I'm not the biggest fan of the rain, but I live in Washington State, so I really can't expect anything else. But some days are nice. And then last but not least, make sure that you're feeling at least neutral, if not positive, about the rest of your day. Also, I forgot. Oh, man. I say this whole thing every single episode, and I forgot to mention that you can literally be grateful for anything and everything. It's a never-ending list. But hopefully you can feel neutral, if not positive, for the rest of your day, reflecting on things that bring you joy and happiness, creating that gratitude list, shifting your mindset to think about some positive things for a while, and a reminder that if you spend more time focusing on the blessings and the positives in your life, it'll help you get through those hard times. However, I do hope that you are having a fantastic day today. Like I said at the top of the show, this week we were talking about New Year, same you, new mood, and today, Tuesday, we're going to talk about go at it with a moderate pace. So let's go ahead and just jump right in. As I spoke about yesterday, with not having to change everything about yourself just because it's a new year, it's important to know that you can still create new goals. And today I briefly just wanted to quickly speak on, going at your goals or aspirations or things at the top of the year, if you choose, at a moderate pace. I made sure to reiterate in yesterday's episode that you should still consider some new goals to add at the top of the year if you find it complementary to what you're already working on. And if you do decide to add some new goals, make sure you don't jump headfirst into anything and go too quickly. I feel like that can be one of our biggest mistakes, is we just jump headfirst into things. We don't really think it through, or we just get too excited or too overzealous and we take it a little bit too far. Do you feel like this is familiar to you in the least or the most or somewhere in the middle? Because I personally feel like the top of the year in years past would get me super excited. It still does get me excited, but just in a different way. But it would get me so excited that I would be able to just start fresh. It's kind of like a brand new page and a brand new journal, and you're just ready and raring to go, and you just want to get started. And sometimes there's a little bit of impatience creeping in there where you don't want to take the time to do your research or really decide if this is when you should do it, and you want to do it when everyone else is doing it because that feels comfortable, right? That feels like you need to be not necessarily ahead of the game, but you need to be in the same sea of people that are starting right now, because if you start before, then it's not as special because you're not starting at the top of the year. And if you start late, you feel like if you start late, then you're late, then you're behind. But I'm here to tell you that if you do decide to delay your goals, which is exactly the reason why I decided to delay talking about this topic until the second week of the new year, because it's okay. And honestly, I feel like a lot of people, specifically for this year 2021, did delay like doing a lot of things, like coming up with their goals or figuring out their resolutions are, buying a new planner journal for the year, really soaking in and figuring out what they're going to figure out. Me personally, I have kind of thought about what I want to achieve this year. I haven't taken the time to actually write it down. I did intend to do it last week, but it just didn't feel right to me. And there's other things that I'm trying to implement in my life right now. I'm trying to practice more daily manifestation. It's kind of going a little rocky in the practice of doing it every single day at the same time. That is what I'm working on. But I know that by the end of the month, I'll have all my goals written down. And I don't think really a month is going to set me back that much, because the way that I look at it is that even if I don't start my goals until the end of the month, and that means someone might be like, oh my gosh, that means you only have 11 months to complete all those things. Honestly, some of those goals are not going to take the whole year, and other goals might take like 2 years, but I'm just now deciding to start attacking those, right? Start working towards those things. And honestly, even if it is a goal that's going to extend for all 12 months, I don't mind finishing it up at the end of January of 2022. Honestly, it'll give me something to kind of just like roll up into the new year feeling good about, which is another reason why you don't have to feel bad about starting whenever you want to start, if it's sometime in January. And it would make me feel like, okay, something to look forward to. I would still create probably a couple new goals here and there, but I won't feel bad about that, and I'll still feel accomplished when it gets done, even if it's at the end of January. It doesn't matter. I'm telling you, it doesn't matter. I know that it feels like it does, but it feels like it does because you're just wanting to be like other people, which I don't think, inherently is bad, because we want to be the same as others because it feels comfortable, because it feels safe, because it feels like the right thing to do when we don't know who we are. We don't know where we're going in life, or if we've gone through things that are traumatic or stressful or depressing, or things that kind of shooken us up. I don't know if that's the right usage of that word. Things that have shooken us up. We want to feel something that feels quote unquote normal, safe, level, balanced, and just kind of like following the crowd and doing what everyone else is kind of an easy way to jump into that. It's not something I would necessarily recommend as your way of, kind of leveling out from whatever crazy up and downs that you may have been through, any issues or struggles or traumas that you've currently experienced. But I do know it is a common thing, and it's definitely something that I have done. I have no shame in telling you that. I honestly don't have any shame in really telling you anything that I've gone through, because that is the point of this podcast, is to share my experiences, my research with you, and help you to become your best self, avoid maybe doing the pitfalls that I did, or let you know that there's someone else out there that has done the same thing or worse than you. But I'm just saying, a lot of times we will just gravitate to doing what other people are doing because it appears to be the right thing, because a group of people are doing it, a lot of people, and you don't want to feel left out. Also, there's also FOMO, there's also the fear of missing out, where you don't want to neglect jumping on whatever current bandwagon there is. And just so you know, I'm not judging anyone for doing these things. I've already admitted that I've definitely done this several times. I'm just stating the things that you might not want to admit to yourself, unfortunately, and you need to do that. Admitting the really hard things, the tough things, the obvious things that are obvious to you, but you've kind of pushed those out of the vision of your main focus in your mind because you don't want to deal with it. And I get it. I really do. I get the fact that it's tough to face the struggles and personal issues that are deep in us that we just don't feel like dealing with, but we do need to deal with them so we do become stronger, better people. Okay? So, But yeah, I do find that a lot of people will want to just rush into something because other people are doing it. And there is another reason that I'll talk about at the end of the episode, but I do feel like that one is like the most prevalent because it just feels like that community. It also feels like a community thing to do. And I'm not saying that any of these choices are necessarily bad, but you really need to take a step back and be honest with yourself for why you are deciding to rush into, creating goals or jumping or deciding to start a weight loss, exercise, healthy, whatever program at the top of the year. Like, are you actually ready to do that at the top of the year? Are you feeling like overwhelmed and stressed because you didn't actually have the time to go to the grocery store and get your like healthy foods that you need to start this diet or this workout phase or whatever it is? Or maybe maybe you haven't actually signed up for the gym, or maybe the things that you ordered for your home gym aren't here yet, but you just want to start because you don't want to feel like you're behind. I feel like this is honestly like it's all driven by peer pressure. If you feel that tugging in your mind that you don't feel like you're ready, but you feel like you have to, you know what I mean? And I feel like there's a difference between like not feeling ready because of fear and uncertainty and a little bit of anxiety compared to just doing it because you don't want to be left behind from someone else. So, but yeah, you don't need to rush. You don't have to rush into anything, no matter how important the goal is to you. There is no need to go all in and get yourself overwhelmed, which could easily cause you to have to take a big step back when you could have just started a little slower and progressed more and more over time. And think about it that way. So if you feel like you feel like, I know that you are going to feel it inside of you. You're going to know it in your mind, and you're going to feel it inside of you and be like, man, I feel like I'm really rushing into this. Maybe I should take a break, but I don't want to take a break because, my friends are starting tomorrow and I want to start tomorrow, but I'm not ready. You know deep inside your mind, whether you want to admit it or not, but you should just admit it. It's fine that you're not ready. And when you know that, you should really take a step back and really reconsider, at least for 5 minutes. Hey, maybe I'm just not ready for this. Maybe I just need to take a couple days and then jump in. And then at least if someone else was also just jumping in just for the sake of doing it, you'll probably end up lasting longer than them. And it's, it's not a competition, but it's a real consideration to think, okay, do I really need to rush in? Should I just start in a few days, and then you won't end up giving up early because it was just too much for you to have to handle in the beginning. Do you know what I mean? Just kind of letting yourself slowly ease into it. Or maybe, it's a big to do for whatever goal that you have to start working on, and you are kind of raised your expectations way too high from the start. And so maybe create a goal where you are slowly easing your way in and then ramp up over the next month or so, depending upon whatever it is. And then you'll be in full swing by the time February rolls around, where a lot of your peers might just be done by that time, or miserable, or not enjoying the process at all. Whereas you decided to ease on down the road and just take it slowly and kind of progress and really add on when you felt like it was time. And then you just feel like you are just in the full swing of things once you continue adding more and more and more, and you're just feeling good, right? Think about that. I think that would really help you. And the reason I think taking your time is really important, I really, really do. Despite the fact that I am such an anxious person, also super impatient at times, I think it's really important because taking the time to prepare and actually make a sound decision on whether or not you want to move forward with that goal can save you a lot of time if you could have figured out it wasn't for you sooner. So maybe you want to embark on a new weight loss exercise program. So let's say that you traditionally do strength training and you're like, I'm just going to jump right into CrossFit because it feels like, it's like a sister to regular weightlifting. Okay, so you're like, but I'm not sure and I haven't done any research on it, and my best friend tells me it's going to be great, but I just randomly picked a gym and signed up and for a month trial, and I'm just going to go head first in and just do it, right? So let's say that's the decision that you make, but you don't even take any time to really think about it. You're just someone just is like this, just sign up, just do it. That's fine. Let's go. And they're going to get some sort of perk out of you signing up or whatever. I'm just joking. Like, that doesn't matter either way. But if you had taken maybe a little bit of time to not rush in despite what your friend may be thinking or whomever encouraged you to sign up, or maybe it was just you. And then you find out like a week in that this is not for you. You're like, I gave it the honest college try. I was here for a week. I came like all 5 days or 4 days or whatever CrossFit does. I've only been to CrossFit a couple times. And you're like, this is not for me, man. I really should have thought about this, or I really should have just like gone to a class and observed, and then maybe I should have like, done like a smaller, shorter trial or something like that, so I don't feel like I wasted a bunch of money. Maybe I actually should have done some research. Maybe I should have realized that, wow, I can't actually do this type of movement. It's different. It's more dynamic here in CrossFit than it would be in regular weightlifting. Like, these are things you could have considered, and then you wouldn't have to figure out in the middle of it that it's just not going to be your thing. It's just not going to work out for you. That's fine. You're just going to go back to what you're doing, but at least you tried. But then it's like, because then people will be like, well, I just needed to try it to figure it out. But I feel like there would have been a smarter, like I mentioned, finding a shorter trial, or maybe observing first, or actually doing research into what is involved in CrossFit, or whatever the thing is. Like, if you actually take the time to do the research, even if you're going to start a little bit after the new year, it'll do you much better, because then you're not wasting your time getting involved in something that you already know is just not going to be a good fit. And I know there's going to be times where you can't do that and you just have to like jump in and figure it out and try it for a little bit. Yeah, there's definitely going to be times like that. Everything is not perfect. Everything doesn't work out the way that you want it to. But if you can save as much time as possible and not waste your time when it could be applied to actually achieving things that you do know that you want to do, that's just better altogether, right? Like, no one can refute that, I don't think. And if you can, please let me know. I would love to hear it. I like to hear opposing thoughts and ideas from other people. I try to stay very open-minded. So if you do, pop on into my Instagram DMs. I'd love to hear from you. But yeah, I think that if you just took the time to really figure out if you think that it could be for you rather than just going in blind, you could have saved some time, money, effort, all those things. And so, why waste your time diving into something you're only lukewarm for? Maybe that's it. Or not completely sure of, And again, I want to reiterate, it's not a competition. It's not a race. And if someone in your life is trying to push you to do something quicker than you'd like, believe me when I tell you that you don't have to do it. You don't have to submit to peer pressure, and you don't have to be bullied into doing anything you don't want to do. You really don't. You don't have to. You might be put down for it. I'm just going to be real with you. You might be put down for it. People might give you crap for it. You might be bullied even more for it. Or they might not do anything, But their actions towards you is only a reflection of themselves, That's all of them. They're just projecting onto you because, they're upset about something else that's going on in their life, or they're upset that you won't do it and someone maybe in the past made them do it, and they're upset that they can't make you do it because that's not how the world works. You don't have to be forced into doing things. But I want you to know that, it might come with some downers of people might wanting to make fun of you. I want to say that's the reality of life, and it is, but it isn't, because there's definitely nice, decent people out there that won't give you crap about everything, but there might be some that will, or there might be some that just won't care either way, and they're like, whatever. And that would be great, just like, okay, cool, whatever, I can do it or you can not. But I want you to know that you don't have to submit to the peer pressure or the bullying. It might be tough at first because it's so much easier just to cave and do what they want and get them off your back. But honestly, if you stand up for yourself and you demonstrate that strength and courage that is living deep within you, I know it is. I believe it. I am telling you and manifesting the fact that you will be able to stand up to people and be stronger and have more courage this year in 2021. I believe it for you. I truly, truly do. But know that it might come with a little bit of adversity, and that's just something that will help you grow and become stronger and continue on that road to being your best self. So, also, just the last tip as we close this up is that I encourage you that when you kind of go at your goals a little bit slower than you might want it, or just at a moderate pace, try to think about goals in smaller amounts of time so that you don't get overwhelmed or give up prematurely, which is what we were talking about. If you just go in head first, you might give up prematurely. Or if it's a big goal in general, whether or not you start like right on the top of the year or you wait a couple of days, it could still feel very overwhelming. But going month by month or quarter by quarter can really help. So even if you want to start a couple of days later in the year and you're like, okay, you know what, I'm going to do January, and then a couple days into February, then we're going to progress a little bit, and then we're going to continue to go like that. Or if it's a different kind of goal that's better suited for doing it quarter by quarter, that works too. And yes, if you do it quarter by quarter or month by month, you still will end a little bit into the next January 2022. But that doesn't matter. It's okay. It doesn't have to be perfect. Believe me, I am someone that is obsessed with things being like perfect, which I'm working on. I think we all are. But it's not necessary. It's not necessary because wouldn't you rather have your sanity? Wouldn't you rather be calm? Wouldn't you rather not have to deal with stress and just a mental overload? Wouldn't you rather just be able to just like get through the experience, the growth, the time, working towards this goal and achievement and accomplishment? Like, that's better than having to force yourself to like play catch up and you don't have to play catch up if you start late. Just so you know, you're not late. You're just choosing your own start date, and that's fine. You don't have to go by the start date that everyone else is going by. It's totally fine. But again, understand that even if it's different than someone else's, it doesn't diminish you at all. It doesn't make you any less than. It just makes you an individual who chose their own path. And I personally think that makes you shine brighter, to be honest with you. But yeah, so going back to thinking about goals a little bit smaller, which if you want more information on how to create goals, I did do a whole week talking about how to create SMART goals. It's SMART goals, the acronym. And every day I talk about a different letter and what that means. And I encourage you to go back into the podcast archives so you can learn more about that I talked about this past spring and summer. But yes, if you just go like month by month or quarter by quarter, it could really help you to not feel overwhelmed and to kind of measure your progress over very specific amounts of time and see where you're growing and see where you're failing and see where you are neglecting, and just be able to tweak things as you go along. So let's end with the big picture. The big picture of this drawn out message talking about moderately going after your goals at a moderate pace, not moderate going after goals, just going at a moderate pace so you don't overwhelm yourself, is you don't have to rush into anything. That's the big picture. You don't have to you don't have to rush into anything. It's usually better when you don't, right? You can apply that to other random things in life. Like, it's usually better if you don't rush into a relationship if you feel like you don't really know them or you feel uncomfortable. It's better that you don't rush into marriage. Because if you haven't, I'm not saying like take a million years of time, but I'm just saying like if you feel like you're rushing, if you feel like it's going a little quicker than it should, take some time. If you feel like you're rushing into accepting a job without actually understanding everything that is expected of you, everything that you'll have to do, everything that you'll be responsible for, or that whatever the rules are for you having to work there and things you may have to give up or kind of change, it's better when you don't rush into things. It just generally is, or rush through things. Don't rush through things either. So anyway, that's all I have to share with you guys on this topic today. Thank you so much for listening to the Real Positive Girl podcast. Again, my name is Sabrina. Happy Tuesday to you all. I encourage you to check the description box below for notes for the show, where you can find me on Instagram, which is currently on my personal, which is listed there, and the show page. I am considering getting rid of the show page and just directing everyone to my personal. My personal is still every day, most days, post motivational things, pictures of myself or like a quote or something like that. I do talk on my stories about my personal life, which isn't necessarily always motivational, but it's interesting sometimes. I talk about a myriad of things there, but I would still promote the podcast and talk about that and share probably a lot more than I do right now, because personally for me, I know this is going to sound, I don't know how it's going to sound, but it might not sound positive to you, but it's actually a lot of work for me personally, Sabrina, to have to manage 2 pages. And I understand for someone else this might be totally easy, but what you may not know is that I do work a regular 8 to 5 job Monday through Friday, so I am trying to prioritize what's important. So I think that I did do a poll, so if you want to be a part of the poll on the Real Positive Girl podcast page on Instagram, you can go to my stories and submit your answers in the poll. I asked a couple of questions in regards to whether or not I should keep that page for the podcast or just direct everyone to my personal. But I just think it'd be a lot easier for me because I'm trying to prioritize what's important. So obviously, I have to work, but then what's most important to me is like coming up with very good content and researching that content and writing notes and actually being prepared and getting the podcasts out. Secondarily will be, my Instagram, but then it's like 2 of them, and that's just a little much for me. And then also I want to start doing more YouTube videos where I motivate people with quick videos. And so I'm just trying to figure out, what's going to make it, what's not. If I wasn't working a full-time job, I would have obviously a lot more time, but I'm also a wife and a mom, and it's just a lot, and I'm sure someone else could relate, and I'm sure you guys stopped listening by now. It's totally fine. So anyway, if you were interested, that is the tea on that. So again, check the description box. You can follow me on Instagram, send me DMs, or you're welcome to send me an email. My email address is listed down there too for any questions, comments, concerns, prayer requests, feedback, topic suggestions, or just to say hey, hi, and hello to me. I love it. You guys are fantastic. Thank you so much for listening, downloading, sharing, doing everything that you do to make this dream of me being able to help people on the internet via my voice come true. So I love you guys. Have a fantastic day. I hope you come back tomorrow. But until then, I'll see you next time. Bye, guys.